Is quantum physics a sort of idealism? Idealists in philosophy are people who believe that true beings rest in the invisible realm of the ideas and not in the visible world of things. In Western philosophy, such a school of thinking go back to Plato, who believed that all visible things are copies of the idea that exists somewhere in some invisible, transcendent part of the world. I am sure you will notice the similarity of Plato's view with the quantum theory and its thesis that all material structures are actualizations of the invisible forms. So, because it seeks the essential reality in the invisible part of the world without any doubt, quantum theory is a form of idealism. It shares the aspect with Einstein's relativity theory, which also places essential reality in an invisible space, that is, a four-dimensional space-time. Augustine of the Hippo also believed in the existence of the realm of the immutable forms. He thought that such forms are needed to maintain the uninterrupted and reliable essence of things. He also believed that these forms don't exist somewhere on this globe or in the visible universe, but in the mind of God. If he were around today, he would probably think that, though the form of the cosmic potentiality, divine thoughts are flowing into the human reality. So let's face it, in the context of the ancient spiritual teachings, the non-empirical reality is a liaison reality where the physical becomes the spiritual and the spiritual turns physical. The concept of the form as a principle of being wasn't a European invention. It's being used all over the world. For example, it is found in the Buddhist philosophy. When the Buddhists speak of Alaya Vijnana, they mean the storehouse in which the memories of all human beings, of their thoughts, feelings, wishes, and needs, are stored as possibilities or seeds. If everything that is empirical is an actualization of the form out of the cosmic potentiality, then this principle must also apply to our consciousness and its contents. Thus, we can think that the cosmic potentiality is the source not only for material things in this world, but also of the principle of our mind. The common source of external structure and internal principle is the basis of our ability to understand the world. One of the important abilities that our brain has acquired in the course of its evolution is its sensitivity to light waves. It has done that by developing eyes with which we can see. It is possible to think that the brain has also evolved some sensitivity to potentiality waves by evolving eyes or neuronal structures that can receive signals out of the cosmic field and in turn take form of our consciousness back into the cosmic field. In the first half of the 20th century, Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung developed a theory of the human mind that is based precisely on the principle of this kind. Jung described empirical evidence for the thesis that our mind can be affected by a field of invisible forms, which he called the archetypes. These forms can actualize spontaneously in our mind and influence our imagination, perception, and thinking. He called them typical modes of the apprehension or psychic organs present in all of us. He saw that they motivate and guide our mind and give meaning to life. He called the realm where these forms exist the collective unconscious. A psychic system of the collective, universal, and impersonal nature which is identical in all individuals. It consists of a pre-existent form, the archetypes, which can only become conscious secondary. Thus, the equivalent of the non-empirical realm of the physical reality is the unconscious in the reality of our mind, and the archetype are specific class of inner images of the kind that Gerald Husserl has described. Like the inner image in the molecules, Jung's archetypes are non-empirical entities because they have never been in the conscious before. In addition, the collective unconsciousness is a realm of the wholeness, as Jung described it, beyond the narrow confines of our personal psyche. The collective unconsciousness is a boundless expanse, full of the unprecedented uncertainty, which apparently no inside and no outside, no above and no below, no here and no there, no mind and no thing, no good and no bad. Jung was a scientist, but this is more than a scientific description of the psychic organ. This is an account of the idealist and mystic describing his contact with this divine, a realm of wholeness, where I am indivisibly this and that, where I experience the other in myself and the other than myself experiences me. All things are connected in the psychic realm as they are connected in the physical realm of the cosmic potentiality. Please be careful, not be religious, please. There I am utterly one with the world, so much a part of it that I forget all too easily to who I really am. Take a second and think about this. The visible world around us exists because an underlying field of invisible form defines the potential of the world, and now we find that you and I, too, can exist only because an underlying field of invisible form of defines our potentials, identical in all human beings at all time and in all places. These forms, archetypes, or ideas are universal. Why should it be outrageous to take this as a sign that the form of our thinking also belonging to some cosmic field? Is it such a long shot to think that Jung's realm of the form and the realm of the form of the quantum physics are one, and the same realm of the cosmic potentiality, a medium of spirit where our specific philosophical and spiritual convictions are integrated in the non-dual order of the one? Too many scientists such thoughts are upsetting. The view is widespread that science shouldn't get involved with such issues. It should be useful and technical, not inspiring, logical, but mindless. However, we should have the courage for an enlightened and liberated science that does more than serve stockholders' equity. We must make an effort to understand the nature of all levels of the physical reality, the empirical and non-empirical, the material and the spiritual. In the first few years of this century, France was rocked by an aggressive controversy involving the question of the evolution of life. I am sure that you are aware of such public fights in the United States between the religious public and the school of the atheists, scientists who love to stir the pot. Interestingly, the same conflict in France are typically between an atheistic public and scientists who see more in the physical world than its visible surface has to offer. In this situation, a group of scientists decided to go public with a European manifesto. In 2006, it was published by Le Monde, one of the large French daily papers. Religious or metaphysical way of their thinking, the manifesto begins, should not, a priori, interfere in the ordinary practice of the science. However, we also consider that it is legitimate, indeed necessary, to reflect posteriori on the philosophical, ethical, and metaphysical implication of the scientific discoveries and theories. In the 18th century, the idealist philosopher George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel developed the theory that the absolute or the self-motivated spirit is the basis of reality and everything that exists is an actualization of the spirit. Hegel's philosophy is called absolute idealism. It got its name because its spirit is the source of everything and creates everything, thinking and being, subject and object, the real and the ideal, the human and the divine, all the one. It opens up amazing perspectives. Your consciousness isn't your own, but the consciousness of the cosmic spirit. Your thinking isn't your own, but the thinking of the cosmic spirit who is thinking in you. Your potential isn't your own, but the cosmic potential to which you are connected. Please be careful, don't be blind. Man knows of God only, Hegel writes in his Phenomenology of the Spirit. Insofar as God knows of himself in man, this knowledge is God's self-consciousness. At first sight, it seems incredible that someone should come up with such ideas, but Hegel wasn't the first to express them. Thousands of years before him, the Indian sages invented the tale of the pots filled with water and placed in the sun. When the sun is shining on a million pots of water, it is in each one of them, but there is only one sun. In the same way, consciousness is in all of us, but there is only one consciousness, as Hegel described it. The spirit of human beings, to know of God, is only the spirit of God himself. In addition, Hegel believed that God evolved with us in our history and in all cosmic processes of becoming. The truth is a whole. The whole, however, is nothing but the essential being, which is perfecting itself in its evolution. If God's mind is in ours, it follows that His words can be in our mouths, as the Bible describes it in the Jeremiah 1-9. If reality is an undivided wholeness, as David Bohm, one of the pioneers of quantum physics, believed, everything that comes out of the wholeness belongs to it, including our consciousness. Basically, this is an argument that physicist Menas Kafotos and science historian Robert Nadeau used to support the view that the universe is conscious. From the perspective of the contemporary psychology, British psychiatrist Brian Lancaster has summarized this view in the following way. Consciousness amounts to the fundamental property, irreducible to other features of the universe such as energy or matter. When we were born into this world, we were ejected out of the wholeness and the experience was traumatic. The world of an embryo in the mother's womb is the archaic world of wholeness. Isn't it too religious? There is no inside and no outside. The growing baby and its surroundings are one. In the moment of its birth, when it is ejected out of the wholeness, the first thing that a newborn baby does is to let out a horrified cry. So biblical. The biblical story of the eviction from the paradise is a symbolic account of this existentialist crisis. But, contrary to the popular accounts, parasite isn't a guardian of sensual pleasure, but the invisible and mind-like realm of reality. We have a need to be in touch with the wholeness, and there is a piece of peace to be paid when the need is neglected. My experiences from the psychosomatic therapy, writes psychotherapist and successful author Hanne Seaman, have taught me that the human beings who reside exclusively in the material and rational domain will sooner or later develop psychosomatic irregularities because their soul cannot bear this. Please be careful not to be religious, not to be fool yourself, not to make yourself fool enough. The longing for the wholeness is a source of our spiritual needs and the basis of all mystical experiences. Plotinus has given a touching account of such an experience. Often when I wake up out of my body to myself and step out of the otherness into myself, I behold a most wonderful beauty. It is then that I believe in the strongest to belong to the greater destiny, and bring about with my force the perfect life and have become one thing with the divine. If the universe is one, all is out of the one is in all, and the cosmic spirit is in ours. This is a message of the quantum phenomena, and it is the Hegel's message. The cosmic spirit itself is thinking in us, becoming conscious of itself. In the Gospel of the Thomas, we read in the Login 117, his disciples said to him, "On what day will the kingdom come?" And Jesus said, It will not come when you are looking outward for it. They will not say, Behold, it is there, or Behold, it is that one. Rather, the kingdom of the Father is spread out upon the earth and men do not see it. So, where is the kingdom? It is the non-empirical realm of the cosmic potentiality, and it is in you. Please be careful.